Hi everybody, it's Christina from Card Making Magic. This is the project that I'm going to do, and this is just an altered notebook. It's just a cheap little notebook, and I've altered it so that each of the covers is covered with some pretty paper. Now when you buy your notebook, it's important that you buy a cardboard cover on the back and the front, and you need to be able to open the spirals that are inside it. This one is no use to you because the spirals run all the way through and there's no way to open those up to make the cover. This is what you need to be able to open these spirals out. So there we have the little notebook. Don't worry about anything that's stuck to the front of it, you won't be able to see it. But the first thing you're going to do is open the notebook. These need to be cardboard because you're going to stick paper to it, and if it's plastic the paper won't stick. So open your notebook so that you have the back and the front covers together, but so that these spirals are now visible to you. And what you're going to do is very carefully pull them all apart. And you need to get them all undone so that you can take this back cover off the book. So once you've got all these spirals opened, you're going to take the covers off. So just slide them off the covers, but remember which way you've done them. So this is the back, and take this one off, and this is the front. Now just keep that all together, but move it to one side because you're going to work on the covers. So the first thing you need to do is decide on your papers. Now when you decide on your colours, it doesn't matter if they are spots, stripes, ginghams, whatever. As long as the colours all blend together, you shouldn't have any problems. So there's a blue set, there's some pretty lilac ones, and this is just some in orange and peaches, but the colours that I'm going to work with are black and white. So just make sure that they all blend together and you'll have no problems with those at all. Okay, to help me to make sure that I get the pieces correct, I've written back and front on each of the two cards that I've taken off the book. I've chosen papers that's going to be on the back and this is going to be on the front, but if you look, they're much bigger than the piece that I'm going to stick them to. So if you turn that over, that is now the front of the card. So with a photo glue, this is pin flare photo glue and it's a wet glue, and I'm going to add my glue to the front of the card. And because it's a wet glue, it means I can move it around a little bit to get things in the correct position. So I'm just going to add that piece of card in there, and then once I've done that, I'm going to fold each of the sides up so that they fit around the front of the card. So that's the next step. You've glued the back in. Before you glue any of the side pieces down, you need to get these holes into the paper. So I'm using the Big Bite. You can use a paper punch or a smaller eye-cutting eyelet setter, but you need to put those holes into the paper, and all you're doing is just marrying up with the holes that are actually in the card. Okay, go all the way down to transfer those marks, those holes. So once you've got all the holes punched, you're going to fold this piece over and glue it down. Now to make it easier to fold the other piece over, I'm just going to remove the corner. So I'm just going down to that point, and then I'm going to fold that one over and glue it in place, and then I'm going to glue that one in place on top, and I'm going to remove the corners there as well so that it all fits in nice and neatly. Okay, Another glue that's excellent to use is the Cosmic Shimmer, and this is the Dries Clear. So the last panel is going in and it's just going to be folded over. So now you've got all your little ends tucked in, you've got the front of the booklet covered, you've got the eyelet holes punched through, which you don't need to do anything with just yet, and that's the front part of your book done. Now what you need to do now is create another piece to sit inside this. So what you're going to do is just measure a piece, make a little mark on your paper, but it needs to be just slightly smaller than the front of your piece, and that you're now going to glue in place, and that will hide all the folding in bits. So again, I'm using the wet glue, and I'm just going to pop that in there as the front cover to the book. Now once you've done that, you can then go back to your paper punch, turn it over, and you're now going to go back through all these holes. So that's your front cover completed, the outside is ready, the inside is done. You're going to do exactly the same process to the back one. Choose the paper that you want on the outside, create your smaller piece to go on the inside, and there you'll have your back and your front covers done. So now I've got my two pieces done. Because I've done them in different patterns, I can remember which is which. So this is my front and this is my back, and both the pieces are decorated inside. Now you need to bring back in the little booklet, the spiral bit, because now you're going to pop them back onto the spiral the same way you took them off. Now if you remember, we had the two outside pieces of the book, the front and the back, facing each other. So the two inside pieces are opposite. Now they need to go back onto this spiral the same way they came off. So the inside, what will be the inside, will need to fit the spirals inside it. And this is the fiddly bit, because you've got to get all those spirals back through those holes so that they will fit on the book. Okay, so that's the first one done. Now again, the back bit needs to go to the front. So again, you're going to fit all those spirals through those holes. And once you've got those two covers on, you need to close up these spirals. So just push them together again and make sure that they're all in place, otherwise your covers will just fall off your book. And once you've done that, you can now close up your book, and there you have the covers done on it, and it's now ready for you to decorate. Now this is a product called Nester Board, and if you don't have the Spellbinders dies, this is a good alternative. It comes in lots of different shapes and sizes. The one I'm using for mine is the Labels 21, and all I've done is covered the Nester board with some paper and cut round the shape, and then I've gone around the edges with a black marker pen just to tie it all in to the colour scheme. Now for each piece of Nester board you can get Nester Bling that matches it. Now this is the piece that goes with the Labels 20, so all you need to do is just peel it off the backing sheet and just place it over the Nester board, and then just carefully press it in place, and there you have some decoration to your Nester board. Now with this piece, all I've done is stamped a little "With love from me to you." I've heat embossed it with some black embossing powder, and I've added the Nester Bling, around the side of the board, and again I've covered the sides with black marker pen, and they're just going to sit one inside the other for the front of the book. Now I'm adding the first one flat to the book with some wet glue, some Cosmic Shimmer glue. I'm just going to add that in place, and then the sentiment I'm going to add with some foam tape. So I'm just going to put some foam tape on the back, take the backing off, and just add it to the top of the other one. Okay? Now, using my Spellbinders flower dies, I've cut a lot of flowers, and I'm just going to have a dry run as to where I want them to go. But I want them to come in an S shape down the book, and I will be adding some more nestling at the bottom. So with a dry run, we'll just place the flowers and see where we want them to go. So I think we'll have some coming down here, and we'll use the smaller ones as we get towards the bottom just to bring the S shape in. And we'll put another one there at the top. So all the colours are from the papers that I've used. This is Reassembling. You don't need to use it all in one piece. You can cut it down or just use certain parts of it. And this is the one I'm going to use, and all you need to do is just peel it off the backing sheet, and I'm just going to tuck it under the flower and then just press it into place in the position that you want it to go. And then as a final touch, I thought I would add a little bit of ribbon, and I've got some white with black spots and black with white spots, and I think this one would look better. So to make the bow, you can keep it attached to the reel so that you don't waste any. Make a loop in the ribbon and hold it with your first finger and thumb and bring it across the other fingers. Now you're going to push that loop through the loop at the back, and once you've got it through, just hold it with your finger and your thumb, put your thumbs in the loop, hold the two tails in your other fingers, and you're just going to pull, and you're just going to make it the size that you want it, and then when you've done that, you're just going to trim the ends off. Now, because one side of the ribbon is black and white and the other is black, all you're going to do is cut a little piece off the ribbon that you have left. You're going to glue it under the knot in the bow and trim it to the same size as the other piece, and with a glue dot or some glue gun or a little bit of superline tape, you're just going to glue that in place. So I've just added a black pearl to the centre of the bow, and with a little bit of hot glue I'm just going to glue it in place at the top of the book. Okay, and there we have the finished book. The inside and the outside are all completed, and that makes a very pretty gift.